Welcome to the weekly live stream on the C47 channel. My name is Jem Schofield, and good to see you, Thaddeus. Good to see you, Ono. And now that you can hear me, I can say I am trying to get used to having comments and reactions over here as opposed to over there. And that's just because I have been playing around with some new lights and I swapped the side that the key was on. So it looks a little bit different. But as a result, I have, you can't see it in frame, a small flag here from the road rags line from Matthews, and it's just essentially blocking that key so it's not getting into the FX30 there behind the good old great video maker. Is that what it is? GVM teleprompter that I have in front of me. So there you go. So I'm looking at comments now over here as opposed to over here because I swapped again the key and the kicker and that. And I don't know how long I'm going to keep this. It might be for a few days. It might be for a while longer, or I might change it tomorrow because I'll be sick of it. But there you go. Water with lime in it. Somebody said when it looked backlit earlier, it kind of looked like it was very milky. That's probably because of the couch over there too, and just picking that up, the opaqueness of it. So here we are. I think it's probably going to be about a half an hour today. We'll kind of have to feel it out and see how the episode goes. And the reason I say that is today is my son's first um, basketball game of the season in his high school. So we're going to go see that game. But before I do that, I have to finish tomorrow's episode of the Daily Drop. And I have done some of the filming for it, sort of the BTS part, but I've still got some things to sync up in post, and I have to do this part, the whole to camera and talk the stuff out. So I know what the episode's about, but I really have to get that cranked out, and I have to get into a system, if you watch the Daily Drop, of getting a few episodes done ahead of time because I leave next Tuesday for LA for 4 days. And while I'll be shooting at least probably one or two episodes when I'm there, I need to have stuff in the can because every day, I land and I go right to a meeting, then I go to another event, then I go to another event, and then I go to sleep, and then I wake up and I do another event. It's just going to be 4 days of continuous stuff. So, not that you need to hear that, but just again, Thaddeus, Ono, yes, we're doing a push on the black and white film challenge. Unfortunately, hopefully, it's not a permanent push because um, because I got no submissions at all. So I was definitely expecting yours. I was expecting a couple of others. So I reposted it, pushed it into the December timeframe. We'll see how it goes. You can reach out to me offline, but I hope we have at least a few people who are going to be submitting for that. And the purpose of this weekly live stream, when it's not Camera and Flask, which we do once a month, usually the first Wednesday of the month, but pushing it later in the month because of my trip to LA next week. And by the way, there won't be a live stream next week. Um, is because of that, because we would have done Cameron Flask next week, but we're going to do it later in the month. It's sort of going to be our Christmas and holidays episode. So there you go. Is the key ratio good? It's all subjective, but I've been playing with the levels a little bit here with this new lighting setup. I'd like to get your feedback. And as always, with the live stream, the purpose and the reason that I do this is so we can talk about episodes of the Daily Drop. So if you want to clarify or talk about anything, if you're watching those, and also to help you out. So if you have questions about planning a project or lighting or camera or anything related to producing and things like that, then this is the time to do that. That's why the the show, whatever you want to call it, the weekly live stream actually exists. It's really a place so that once a week you can come here, ask questions, we can have conversations, and that's the whole reason I do it. That's the reason that the daily drop is recorded, so I can just focus on creating something and pushing it out there. And then we have this live stream to interact. Thank you, Brandon and Preston. Good to see you, Brandon and Preston. Really loved our conversation whenever that was, 2 days ago. Feels like a lifetime ago, but I really needed that, and I really enjoyed catching up with you. It was great. Um, so there you go. Always put an at the C47 if you have a question. You don't have to repost it though, Brandon. I'm going to get to that in a second. And it's very fluid with the weekly live stream. Again, the purpose is, 20 people might show up, 10 people might show up, 50 people might show up, but it's a place for you to ask questions, clarify things, go over stuff. And that's why I do it. Sometimes it goes for half an hour, 40 minutes. Sometimes it goes for a full hour or just over. Today it'll be closer to that half hour, 40 minutes, because again, I have to shoot the stand up part of tomorrow's episode and get it edited before I head out for the game. So let's jump right into it. Everybody, questions are whatever you want to call it. The something is open. Yeah, that thing. Lighting looks great. Thank you. Thoughts on global shutter and how much people should care? So, Brandon, I think my take on it is, we've been shooting with CMOS sensors for a long time now, and CCDs reacted differently in terms of how they captured stuff. But I think um, I think that the short answer is global shutter is generally always better if you had your choice, but you can take a hit in terms of, um, or at least historically, you could take a hit in terms of your camera's some of its capabilities. But I think it really has to do with the type of content that you shoot. If you're in an arena where there's a lot of or in a space where there's a lot of fast motion, a lot of movement in your frames, then there can be advantages to global shutter for sure. And also, um, because of the readout of a rolling shutter, a global shutter can eliminate some issues that you can have with lighting. And especially when you're in situations like last night, I went to go see Depeche Mode. I've never seen them. It's one of the bands. Maybe they weren't on the bucket list, but once I bought the tickets and we went to go see the show, I'm really glad. Great show, by the way. I mean, Dave, their front man. I mean, he's always had an energy, but the guy's 62 years old and he never stopped. He's got the moves for sure, not like Jagger, like him. And he sounded great. The whole band sounded great. It was just a four piece, but I digress. Going back to lighting there in concert situations and things like that, having a global shutter can be a big advantage as well. So it doesn't mean you run out and you get the new Sony A9 series camera. Um, but I hope the trend continues. It's all just getting better and better and better. But if you've got a rolling shutter camera, CMOS sensor that has a fast readout, you're probably going to be fine in most situations. I mean, if you look at the higher end RE cameras, you know, they're not global shutter, but the readout's so fast and things, it's not stopping people from shooting NFL films on those or feature films and all of that good stuff. Um, yeah. So there you go. And I think it also has to do with the frame rate that you're capturing at. To my knowledge, Phantom cameras are not global shutter. They might be, but I don't think they are. All right. Um, Brad coming in. Howdy back. I definitely took advantage of the 20, 30, 40% off discounts this past Black Friday, Cyber Monday, primarily purchased grip gear and supplies that don't go out of date. Yes, the evergreen kit, the stuff that you can use with any camera and any light and all of that. That's the good stuff. I don't know if it's still going on, but modern studio equipment had 30% off a lot of their rags and things like that. So you might want to check that out. It's all good. Brandon says, shot a commercial for a preschool recently. I was on the F-55, noticed it with the little kids for sure. Little kids, they're fast. They're like, it's like, you know, yeah, they're fast. Shot 4K 120 and it helped a lot. Um, and you saying it helped a lot. F-55 is not global shutter. So you're saying you noticed the rolling shutter when they were moving around? And then when you shot 4K 120 to help sort of mitigate that? Love some clarification on that, Brandon. Because to my knowledge, unless I'm probably wrong, but I don't think the F-55 is a global shutter. Oh, it is. Oh, well, that's good. Well, there you go. Learning. Thaddeus, camera support makes a lovely gift suitable for any occasion. Yes, it's better in the stocking than a lump of coal, that's for sure. F5 is rolling. Copy that. All right. Um, what else do we have? Low light, I think, was sort of the big hit that you got when you went to global shutter. I believe. I think you um, just going to higher ISOs and things like that. Not as clean historically, like between a red camera with rolling and a red with a global shutter. If I'm right, again, I may be totally wrong on that, but I think that's one of the things. Not sure if it really has a lot to do with dynamic range, but then again, if you can't boost the ISO and you're getting more noise in the shadows, or you are boosting it, but you're getting more noise because you're on a global. I guess that's kind of related. Um, all right. Brandon says, I got a good one. I have a ton of C stands and was wondering about getting a small, short C stand. Do you know what I should go with? C stands are generally well made across the boards. I might not go onto Amazon and buy a newer with two E's C stands. The big ones out there, Avenger, Matthews Studio, Matthews Studio Equipment. Kupo makes great stuff. Their C stands are very heavy. I think you'd be fine if you went the impact route. I think they're, good quality. That's essentially a Gratis Group brand under B&H. So all of those should be fine. I've gotten a couple of ones to try out from Amazon from those other companies, and they seem to be okay, but I don't have the same confidence I have with MSE or Matthew Studio Equipment. In this country, they're probably the most popular, but there's a lot of companies making good grip equipment nowadays. But if the price difference is $10 or $15, which a lot of the time it is with C stands, I'd probably just stick to the brand that you feel comfortable with because it's not going to be generally a jump of, $50, $75 difference. Um, but check it out and see. But yeah, you wouldn't go wrong with Matthews. I mean, they're so rock solid. All right. Ono said spent Black Friday dollars on a Bayer D. That's a mic, right? Oh no, the headphones. Oh, the DT990 headphones and Condor Blue RE dovetail plate. Ooh, nice. Evening, David. That's two Davids. I should have said evening too. Brandon, I always like Matthews because I like the build quality handles of the Kupo. Yeah, the Kupo, they're just heavy as all that. I just found them on Amazon. Looks like I can get the rise. Oh, good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. In terms of just making it a shorty, you absolutely can just get the riser, depending on what kind of turtle base. If you have a standard turtle base that you can actually, you know, take the column out of, then you absolutely can swap them, and that's what I do. Some of them have fixed columns, so that can be a problem. Yeah, but just get a shorty. Oftentimes, it's really handy to have two because if you're doing things like a slider or a Dana Dolly or something like that, it can be advantageous to not have two full-sized C stands, but to have a couple of shorties. Those are handy. Though there's some other solutions from companies out there that are kind of designed now for um, supporting that kind of stuff for sure. Good. All right. Well, we're talking here. I like that. What else we got? Throwing at the C47 into your question. I do like that when you do it. It does help me. And, it's not a lot of us here. Just check the numbers. I can't see it from over here, but there's like 12 of us. Um, yeah, it is the little things that matter. For instance, I prefer Matthews stands because of their chunkier and rounded handles versus modern, which have sharp edged handles. Yeah, but modern also makes some really great stuff when it comes to fabrics. Magic cloth and their rags are great. I love their ultra bounce, especially. I have an ultra bounce floppy, which is great. Some 6 bys, and when you get them for 30% off, then it's easier pill to swallow. Um, 12 is a blockbuster on my live stream too. Oh no. Though I am seeing, the numbers are going up. There's definitely more subscribers coming to the channel. There's more engagement happening. Some of it's from new people, which I love. That's the whole point here is that, this is supposed to be an educational resource for people. Um, that's where I am. That's my lane. So if you're interested in that, this might be a good channel to have as part of the mix for you. If you're just looking for product reviews, then get the heck out of here. That's I'm gonna cover new products sometimes, and I'm gonna talk about them, but I think my focus is going to be a little bit different than most of the other channels, and we need the other channels, but all right, what's Brandon saying? Not sure if it's worth mentioning to users, but Lens Rentals has 15% off used gear, which is already crazy discounted on something. Yeah, no, it's good. They sometimes have really good deals. I haven't looked recently, and I've had a very good, really a great relationship with Lens Rentals over the years because they have supported many of my workshops, especially at shows like NAB, and it just depends on how well the gear is cared for. So if they're listing what condition it's on, I would trust them. And they're, as a company, historically very good at communicating with their customers and their end users and things like that. So definitely something to check out. So, yeah. Yeah, there's no lack of it. Just remember, Ono, we're living in consumerism. It's been here since about the 50s. Um, America is great at consumerism, as is most of the world now. Disposable. So buy the good kit. I always say that, especially with tripod systems and fluid heads, even more in particular, you learn over time that the cheap ones get crunchy and they're going to have to get replaced at some point, and it's a big investment to get a Miller or a Sockler or a Connor head, and that is painful, but it will pay itself back in how much of a shot or shots you can use and all of that good stuff. I'm not recommending you do that, Ono. You know, go make a cup of coffee, chill out for a second, and there you go. Um, Speaking of, now we've got one Brandon here, but we also have the other Brandon who I don't think is here today. Normally is, and is I think Ono, but seems to be a hardcore coffee drinker. So just a heads up on that. So there you go. All right. So let me take a look at our time here. We've got 21 after the hour. So we're going to go probably for another 10-15 minutes today, just because I'm going to have to reset, shoot this episode, and then get that edited and out the door in the next couple of hours. So I've got a lot of things to figure out for that one, just to make sure I can be efficient about the editorial part of it. I don't think it's going to take me that long, but I kind of have to do it in reverse. I have to take the footage that I've shot and put that into a timeline and get a sense of sort of the order of that footage. And then I've got to shoot the episode and kind of, talk over what's happening. Not a long episode, but I think kind of interested related to audio and a voiceover kind of inexpensive voiceover setup, and then there should be a not a part two, but a follow up to that because I have something else coming in from B&H related to that next week. So it won't be next week, but when I come back from LA, I'll be able to shoot that episode. And I'm kind of backlogged on some stuff, but it's better than not being back, like not knowing what I'm going to be shooting here. Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, we'll call him Petro. Um, he is hardcore. At least it seems to be. I think it's always let's get some coffee and this and that. And I bet you if you started to ask him in the Phoenix area where his favorite spots are, he wouldn't start with Starbucks. That's my guess, but I might be wrong about that. Who knows? All right, Sonny. All right, let's go. All right, what do we have next? Let's get a question in here. Oh, there he is. Speak of the devil. Brandon, how hardcore uh uh how hardcore of a coffee person are you? And let's um let's see what's going on. Eggs World, come on. Who could have a better name? Well, we've got the Grumpy Penguin. That's a pretty great name too. But Eggs World isn't bad. I don't know if this is epic. Epic would be epic. I know what epic is, but you know. Um Brandon, what's the deal with your coffee situation? Are you serious about it? Is there, your anti Starbucks, like hardcore, really good coffee? Are you making stuff at home? I want to know about that. All right. David says, "What's the best way to clean my Magic Cloth 8x8 bounce? I got it dirty on last week's shoot." That's a great question. I don't know too much about the makeup of that. I'm going to LA next week, David, and I could maybe ask them what their recommendation is. Because I don't know. I don't think you want to take like vinegar product to it. It'll probably discolor it. Um, you know, my guess would be, which you've probably already done, is just, dish soap and water, something very mild, like warm water. I don't know if you've done that yet. Um, Maybe something like Dawn, but I would spot test it to see. And the other thing, I'm not recommending it, but is coming to mind, but it um, may or may not work is Magic Eraser. But the problem with Magic Eraser is it's essentially micro sandpaper. So it's magical, but it can ruin surfaces. But that's a great idea, Thaddeus. Just call the Rag House, which is basically, the inventors of the Magic Cloth, and they will give you recommendations for how to clean it. And I'm sure it's not the first time. And when you find out the answer to that, David, please send that to me and share it and all that good stuff, or bring it up on the live stream next time. Again, housekeeping wise, no live stream next week. I'll be in LA. I will be, yes, having a lot of stuff going on there. All right, Eggs World. Any tips on how to make a position move from PA to G&E for a pretty big basketball company? I've been freelancing with these people for like almost a year, and I'm their go-to guy for light setups. Um, it sounds like you've already sort of made the move, but you're probably not being paid for the move. Um, And do you want to it sounds like you wanna move into that title and that position more permanently and just stop being a PA. Tell me more, Eggs World. Put an at the C47 at the beginning, and that's what I wanna find out. And like, what's the size of the team over there? If you're pretty much their go-to guy for light setups, who else is in the G&E grip and electric department and what's going on with that. So give me some info, and we'll talk about this for a couple of minutes before we head off into the I head off into the land of the Daily Drop. Brandon says it's an addiction. Actively search out coffee shops wherever I travel, mainly in Cali. I can probably out coffee talk most baristas. I have specific grinders for specific drinks, if that gives a hint. Ooh, hey now. All right. See, I thought so. Um, yes, Lux Central ticks a lot of the boxes. Oh, well, maybe Ono and Brando Petro are gonna have some coffee. It'll be an epic meetup. All right, David says, does anyone have or tried the cheap Nanlite Pavo Tube T8? Not that one. No, I have the other ones. I know there are better alternatives, pricier, but just need them for practical lighting and background ceiling. Probably fine. I mean, your CRI TLCI is probably going to be quite good on those, and I probably wouldn't worry too much about them. Um, and if you need those longers, then I would do that. You said the T8 7X question mark? Hold on, let me just taking a look. You're gonna see me in profile here for a second. Let me see what the dark web says about these things. We'll see. Let's go to the B&H's and see what they say. You're saying the Pavo, you say T8? I'm coming back to you, Eggs World. Yeah, $95. Let's see what we got. I'm looking, trying to get some info. Oh, damn, they are cheap. I'm trying to see what. Oh no, they're RGBWW. They're only 3 footers, huh? Oh, I see. Because they're simulating T8 compact fluorescence, T8 size, 3 footers. Mm, um, I would, if they're RGBWW, which it shows they are, and they're $95. I'd give them a shot. Let me just see. Checking one more thing, and then I'm coming back to the chat. Okay. I see you've answered, Eggs World. They're also prime. You can get them prime, same price. So maybe that's the way to go. Yeah. I mean, if that size is the right size for you, I give them a shot. RGBWW, probably not bad. All right, let's see what we got. They have an in-house shooter, producers, but no in-house G&E. I pick up orders from rental houses in my truck and help them set up. They ask me for tips and lighting setups. The last time I set up lights and told their in-house people what to do, I was basically the gaffer working. Got it. Famous streamer house, but was listed as PA and paid my no. I mean, look, there's not. What's the worst that's going to happen? They no longer hire you as a PA at that rate, and you're not getting work from them. If that's a problem, then don't speak up. But I think that there's kind of two parts of what we do. Number one is we have to be collaborative. We have to work well with others, and we have to be smart about how we communicate with other people in our crew and the people who are hiring us and stuff like that. But a part of moving up the ladder is you got to you got to have cojones. You got to have a pair and and speak up. It's you don't have to be you know an ass about it, but you have to say something like I'm really it's all about how you present it. I really enjoy working with and your company. I know I've been in a PA position. I'm definitely moving up in, grip and electric and lighting, and that's really where my focus is. Do you have a need for somebody in that area? The rates are a little bit different when I'm doing that job, but I'd love to continue to work with you. So, what do you think about that? And yeah, it's all how you present it. If it's like if you go to them with a chip on your shoulder and you're like, I've been doing this now at a PA rate, and really what I'm doing is I'm a swing, I'm a grip electric for you guys, and this kind of sucks because I'm not making it. Or I really enjoy working with you and your company. And, I've noticed that I'm doing more and more with lighting. And that's something that I focus on outside of what I'm doing for you as a company. And do you have a need for somebody to do more of that with your company? My rates are different when I do that, but I just wanted to check. Or do you just kind of want to have me more in a traditional PA role? That's kind of maybe one way to approach it. Eggs World, whatever that means. All right. So there you go. Brandon, can I just mention the insane amount of views on a couple of your very recent drops? Yeah. Um, there's reasons for that because I'm testing out. I'm very transparent about things. I'm testing out some lights from Kelvin, and they've helped with some support about pushing traffic to the site, which has been great. So, it's not falsely inflated views, but it's definitely with the help of, some push. There's a chicken and egg that happens here, this is the real world. And if you want to create exposure for what you're doing on a platform like YouTube, there's basically two ways that that can happen. One of them, unless it goes viral, and come on, let's be honest, the content I create is not viral content. So one of two ways. Number one is the algorithm for some reason starts to work for you and you start to get recommended more and traffic starts to flow in. But when you see big jumps, generally that's because there's a push. You've got an outside company who's doing some marketing or promotion or letting the word out to people in terms of that. And you'll notice that both of those episodes, Brandon, are related to Kelvin products. But it's been great because hopefully it's brought some more people in, exposed them to the channel. I mean, it's a tiny fish, giant ocean. And, there's a lot of people who may be interested in some of the content that the channel is producing, but they're just not aware that the channel exists or, that it's an ongoing resource for information. So there you go. All right, eggs. Oh, we're referring to eggs as eggs now. Kind of like that. Maybe it's time to have a casual discussion with the production leads. Yep, there you go. Um, yeah. Look, I also, like there's there also besides having cojones and having a pair. I don't care, what your gender is. I'm just talking about having the the balls to to talk about what it is that you're looking for or what you want to do. Um, I think to a certain degree, you also have to have a willingness to waste a client. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean like brush them off. I just mean you have to be willing to be okay with, the thing that you're doing right now isn't necessarily the big stepping stone that you need. You might need something that pushes you and makes you a little bit uncomfortable and puts you in that position. It's happened to me many, many times in my career. And as hard as it is when I'm in it, generally I look back and I find that it's those uncomfortable, scary times which were the times that propelled me to the next thing that I'm going to do, or pushed me in the direction of something I've wanted to do for a long time, but have been quote unquote preoccupied or busy with other things and just haven't put the time and effort into it. So, you know, that's what we got for you, I think, right now. Ooh, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I got the mute button ready. Is it going to happen? I was going to sneeze. It's going to be bad. All right, we're back. Here we go. Have a drink of water. Brandon, I still have not gone to Pizza Bianco yet in the Phoenix area. Um, Palmos, okay. Similar story. Guy moves from Italy to start a traditional style pizzeria. Though Pizza Bianco, the guy didn't move from Italy. He's American, isn't he? Um, there you go. Love restaurants in Scottsdale. That's the place to go. David, got it. Boom. Palmos, love all the stuff. We're talking food. We've talked about Thanksgiving, right? I mean, come on, let's wrap this up with some Thanksgiving talk. I just realized we're talking about what's going to happen with Thanksgiving last week. We haven't talked post mortem. Um, for me, two turkeys, 23 plus pounders. One was roasted, one was spatchcocked and smoked. Both very, very different from each other. Both delicious. Neither one dry or overcooked. Happy about that. Did a small ham as well. Very simple, not a spiral. I sliced it, quote unquote, afterwards, and and then it was very simple. It was just really a um, apricot jam, little bit of water to thin it down a little bit. Sat the ham on some orange slices, and boom, boom, boom. Yeah. A lot of potatoes, two different kinds, scalloped, mashed, mushrooms, baked stuffing. A lot of people, 21. There we go. You did smoke the apple pie? Dude, it sounds amazing, by the way. I have to try that. And the next day, the epic, like you, Thaddeus, to get rid of the leftovers, which you have to do. I always buy a loaf of Texas toast, which, by the way, isn't toast until you toast it, to make a Thanksgiving sandwich. So I had one. I always have to have one. But what we did do, which was epic, is I made a lot of gravy. Gravy came out really good, but not amazing because I had so many people that the base gravy was insane, but then I added more turkey stock. And so it changes flavor profile. But I had so much of it that the next day I took smoked turkey, the regular turkey, the maple bourbon carrots, some peas, but those are frozen. Diced up some potatoes, just parboiled those, and then separately some just celery and onions, a little bit of thyme, a little butter. Just cook that down, a little white wine, and then all of that went together with the gravy and the turkey, all white meat on this one, and then I made just take puff pastry, and we made a giant turkey pot pie, and then whatever leftovers we had, we reheated the rest of the stuffing and the mushrooms and the carrots, and we had some people over who weren't there for Thanksgiving, and we kind of had this follow up. Um, it was good. All right, eggs. I made a churro cheesecake and brought it to my girlfriend's parents' place with a bottle of wine. It was epic. So they liked it. So you're still in. Ono just had some turkey, gravy, and stuffing leftovers. We're right on that edge, Ono. It's Wednesday. I kind of like cut off on Thursday, but yesterday was like the last of the leftovers went, and they were. I was like, we're done with this. But we did our thing. All right. I think I gotta wrap it up. It's 3:40 here, 40 minutes after the hour, and I've got to get this episode done. Can't be late for my son's game, first one of the season, and got to support. He's on varsity. He's a starter. I got to do the thing. My kid, by the way. You do know that nobody knows how tall you are until you see him in real life, but I'm short. So the fact that I have a kid who's, over 6 feet tall and is a basketball player. All of those things don't make sense, but that's the way life goes. I have no idea how long the turkey is good for. Probably at least a week, but I wouldn't want to go much more than that. But there you go. Ono's coming in with the backup. Um, All right, kids. That's what I got for you. We'll have a couple more daily drops this week. I'm going to have to crank out some, um, by end of day Monday so that I've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at least. I'll try to shoot one when I'm in LA that is posted next week if I can. I'm not going to bring a lot of kit down with me. Um, Next week is a lot of meetings. It's a lot of just nonstop stuff related to this industry and all of that stuff, and hopefully getting stuff cooking for 2024. That's the whole purpose of the trip, is to just get stuff going so that I'm creating more content and better relationships, and also, very importantly, growing the channel and the daily drop. I want to keep the momentum going. There's people cross the 10,000 mark. That was a big one. May or may not shoot a quick episode on that. Just sort of my thoughts on that, and my journey to 10,000, which in the olden days, um, I think they actually even gave out plaques for 10,000. That's a joke now, 10,000. That's like pittance. 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. But it wasn't easy for me to get there. All right, kids. Off now. Thank you for coming to the live stream. Thank you, most importantly, for coming to the channel and being engaged, asking real questions that I can give hopefully real answers to. And glad we got a little food chat in there as well. But I really, really appreciate it. Keep watching. If you got friends in the industry, tell them about it. And, you know, we'll keep going. Onwards and upwards, kids. Laters.